Unit 12, page 1. How have humans impacted the environment? What are different forms of pollution? List as many forms of pollution as you can on your paper. Okay, let's see how you did. So, some potential forms of pollution include acid rain, smog, organic waste, infectious agents, inorganic chemicals, things like metals, so mercury would be an example of this in our water, radioactive waste, like from nuclear power plants, thermal pollution. This is when factories might use water and they recycle it back into the ecosystem, but sometimes it is warmer than when they took it in, and this can definitely cause certain species to be affected. Solid waste, we're thinking about sewage, and non-biodegradable items, so plastic bags, plastic bottles, when left in a landfill, will take thousands of years to turn into soil again. So non-biodegradable means that they will not break down. So even decomposers have trouble breaking these things down. All right, let's take a look at different changes in the ecosystem caused by humans. So we have pollution. Now, if you write pollution as a response on your Regents exam, this is not detailed enough because there are so many different types of pollution. So you need to make sure that you're specific. There are several different types of pollution that can happen on land, in the water, and in the air. Because of our limited resources that we have, this is going to cause disruption of the various cycles that keep the ecosystem balanced. So for example, we can have a disruption of the water, nitrogen, or carbon cycle. Humans also destroy habitats. This is mainly through deforestation. So urban sprawl is a term that describes when cities are spread out away from the city center so that you're causing a greater amount of deforestation in the surrounding area. Rainforests, so rainforests are being cut down, and again, this is a huge part of deforestation because this is disrupting the carbon cycle because a lot of that carbon dioxide remains in the air, and with fewer and fewer plants, less of that carbon dioxide is being converted into oxygen during photosynthesis. We're causing a lot of extinction. We also hunt lots of different animals, and sometimes we hunt them to the point of extinction. And sometimes we hunt animals that are even on the endangered species list. So animals such as the tiger are being hunted for different forms of medicine, or tigers are being hunted for their skins. Similarly, elephants being killed for their tusks, or rhinoceros being killed for their tusks. Imported species can also wreak havoc on the ecosystem. We sometimes call these invasive species. Think about invaders, the idea that they don't belong there, and they're going to take over that ecosystem. For example, rabbits were not native to Australia, but when they were brought over to Australia, they actually took over and competed better than the natural herbivores, so that they actually put a lot of pressure on the natural herbivores because they competed so well for food. Similarly, the zebra mussels in the Great Lakes as well as the Hudson River are not native to this area, and they're causing the extinction and lowering the population of native species because they are outcompeting them for resources. And another example is the Japanese beetle, which again is not native to New York City, but is causing a lot of destruction in terms of destroying trees in the outer boroughs. Pick one way that humans have changed the ecosystem and explain how it has negatively impacted the environment. Pause the video here and write a response in the table below. Okay, so you've written down one way that humans have changed the ecosystem, and you've explained how it negatively has impacted the environment. Make sure that your response is specific enough. Global warming is one way that humans have impacted the ecosystem, and global warming is essentially climate change. There's not warming everywhere throughout the Earth, but it's the idea that the climate is changing a couple degrees warmer, which is going to cause different disruptions throughout different ecosystems. So this is an overall average increase in the Earth's temperature caused by excess greenhouse gases. This is emitted by burning fossil fuels such as coal, oil, and gas. It's caused by volcanoes, actually release a tremendous amount of greenhouse gases, and livestock, so we're thinking about on farms, animals such as pigs and cows. So in the diagram you'll see below, without global warming, we have a greenhouse effect which is important to keep our Earth's temperature warm enough to be inhabitable. And some of that radiation gets trapped, but some of it can leave. So you'll see how the arrows point towards the radiation hitting the Earth's atmosphere, and a lot of that gets trapped while some of it leaves. With global warming, we see how the greenhouse effect is going to affect our atmosphere. Radiation enters the Earth's atmosphere, but because of certain greenhouse gases in excess, this prevents a lot of the heat from leaving. So you'll see here the arrow represents the heat leaving. Here there isn't as much of that leaving, and most of it gets trapped in the Earth's atmosphere. This is caused by greenhouse gases such as carbon dioxide, which have a greater density than other gases, so remains lower in our atmosphere and can trap that heat. Ozone depletion is different than global warming, because ozone depletion is the idea that more of the sun's radiation is able to get to the Earth's surface. So ozone depletion is the thinning of Earth's ozone layer. It provides protection from UV radiation and causes increased UV radiation that penetrates the Earth's surface. This is primarily caused by CFCs, otherwise known as chlorofluorocarbons. These chlorofluorocarbons, when emitted into the atmosphere, are going to prevent ozone from properly blocking the Earth from ultraviolet radiation. So if we have a depleted ozone layer, we have more ultraviolet light entering our atmosphere, which is going to lead towards more damaged DNA and potentially more incidence of skin cancer and cataracts. So ozone depletion, the ozone hole, again, which you can see here in this picture, is going to allow more of the sun's radiation to enter the Earth. Questions. Compare and contrast global warming and ozone depletion. What are some trade-offs as a population we make? And are there any solutions? So take a minute and write a response. Global warming is caused by greenhouse gases such as carbon dioxide that retain the sun's radiation near the surface of the Earth that causes a gradual warming. Ozone depletion is a thinning of the ozone layer which causes increased ultraviolet radiation. Some trade-offs we make as a people include agriculture and farming are one example. Because again, this is not good for global warming, the idea that livestock does contribute to global warming, but we do that so that we as a people can survive and eat food. Deforestation, again, to build cities and towns, it's a trade-off. It's a place for us to live, but it's also destroying the atmosphere. And are there any solutions? List what you think might be some potential solutions on how to help both ourselves and the environment. At the bottom, for Check for Understanding, please write 2 questions about how humans have impacted the environment and their answers.